Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for March 11th through 18th, 2024. Well, wow, what a powerful weekend with this Pisces new moon. Incredibly intense energies. It's like we're standing on the edge of the old and the new. So the Pisces energy with this new moon, Mercury was in conjunction with Neptune. We feel that through today. That's kind of coming off, but bringing a whole bunch of Pisces energy. And we've gotten the message that Neptune in Pisces is about rehashing and reviewing and releasing and rewriting the energies of the Piscean age. So, what we were experiencing this weekend, especially with Mars square Uranus, we're still feeling that for the next few days. Um, this coming up against this this place, this juxtaposition, this perhaps a huge bloom of the trauma drama energies, that south node activation, bringing forward karmic relationships and uh, showing you where you haven't been able to let go of the pain, of the trauma, of the stories. And the a big reason why we haven't been able to let go, it turns out, the message coming in for us supernova souls is that these pains and wounds we've been trying to heal are lifetimes long. And we know that we've been waiting for justice in our world and that this must come. It's like it's like the picture of the goddess, Lady Justice and blind justice. Um, it's a feminine attribute as the mother comes back and takes back her world in the true authority. We have to have justice. And the thing about it is that we can see where justice is needed very clearly in our world right now that we're experiencing. Very blatant corruption, as if it's a movie playing out for us. But what is really going on and what's been really coming up for you, Supernova Soul, is actually really old traumas from past lives. And so the people that we've all had this experience where you'll have an interaction and then the emotional response is like, or in a relationship or something, and it's like the emotional response is way, way, way out of proportion to the situation, right? And then that's your clear sign that it's a past life thing. And so there's with the Piscean energy bloom right now, and we're going to continue to feel this because Venus is moving into Pisces tomorrow, and Mars will be moving into Pisces later in the month on the 23rd. So we're going to still be in this Pisces energy. And it's really powerful because it's like standing at the end and the beginning. Because we also have this Aries bloom going on. And Mercury will be taking retrograde in Aries. Mercury moves into Aries today. So we're standing at the edge. Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, Aries, the first sign. And we're standing at that place of the old and the new. And it's really important that we understand that yes, it's natural and normal to have a bloom of these trauma drama energies because we want to clear them for good. But it's also really important for us to retrain our whole psyche, unwind these energies, understand that it's trauma, drama, and fear that have programmed us. And so we are have to reprogram. And it's really difficult sometimes when you get to that place because you're like, oh my gosh, this unresolved wound. And so much of these unresolved wounds from deep in past lives that seems like it's this life, but it's actually past life, has to do with the that justice never came for what happened to you in that past life. And so when justice doesn't come, there's what's called this unacknowledged victim. And this is a huge energy that supernova souls have gotten stuck um, in the targeting and the persecution is just what happened in the Piscean age. It was like this, we had this, if you look at it, this last shift of ages with a Christ event and Yeshua, Jesus, like what he did was he just brought this big bomb of light, basically. And then there was like a fallout for the rest of the Piscean age of this attack on the light. And so if you incarnated as who you are. You didn't have to even do anything wrong. So you became wrong in your existence just because. But we also got into some stories around, well, Jesus was persecuted and that was part of his, journey. And so I'm going to go do that same thing so I can be like him. And that's total distortion of the story, but we did play it out. And now we release ourselves from all of this because it turns out what came through in the Pisces New Moon activation, so profound. So if this resonates, go back and get the replay because it's super important for us right now. Um, in the unresolved victim or unrecognized victim and the unresolved justice, we're stuck in these timelines of pain and trauma. And it turns out that what we were shown is that so much of the pain that we've been carrying, I know supernova souls just feel like, why? What in the heck did I do to deserve all this karma, right? It doesn't work like that. That's not the situation we're actually in. Um, because there's different modes and different levels of karma. And there's the equal karma where something you did somebody something and that you did something to somebody and then you experience that exact same thing back. This level of karma for supernova souls we're talking about is same karma or same different karma where you have the same oppressors who beat you down for just being you, those same people, same souls or entities or whoever, whatever they are, showing up. And the karma is more about standing up for ourselves. But this is the tricky place with the distortions of Christianity and the whole stories we've all been programmed, whether we subscribe to it or not. There's this energy of, and for supernova souls, we don't want to create more karma. We're here to resolve that shit, right? And so we know by getting involved that the whole story, we've been told again and again that God will bring the vengeance, God will bring the justice, you know? But that's kind of, in a way, also we've rolled over and let them dominate us and let them take over our world and our vision and our dream and steal our energy. And, all it's just, and so we're at this place, the Chiron activation of the North Node and Chiron together in Aries is like standing up, get up, stand up, no more. Take back your energy. So what we were finding is that, and maybe this is why it's like so opposite and so confusing because the pain that you feel from this past life trauma ha- has to do with persecution in the Piscean age, really has to do with carrying the guilt and shame of your oppressors, and very particularly those souls that saw this happen to you and were not able to stop it. So you're a healer in the community and then you're persecuted, and those you had healed and helped and that saw who you were devastated by your treatment and couldn't do anything about it. You're their healer. And so in that moment, you took on all their shame. You took on the shame of the person, like, you're such a big soul and you're so powerful and you're so aware. And so we say, well, I can take on that energy, but it's not ours. We've got to allow the people to grow. But we literally have been carrying the energy of our oppressors, the shame, the guilt, the heaviness, this horrible feeling about the world going the wrong way, blaming ourselves. And it all goes back to this bullshit story that happened in the Atlantean time with the catastrophes and everything. It just keeps coming back to that because that was an Aquarian age. And now we must redo the Aquarian age in the right way, where we go back to the truth, to the mother's laws and rules that says that in her world, well, she has rightful domain over this planet, as well as us who are in alignment with her. In her world, there is it's not there will be no more harm, no more harmful technologies, no more wars, no more funding, no more energy available for hurting humans anymore. No, 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 right? Um, and so we've always been in alignment with her and with her laws and rules and her justice. So this is what's playing out right now. But how do we come back to justice? How do we get out from under the rubble of where we've been trapped and oppressed, holding the pain of our oppressors. Because I got this message early on when when this download started coming in around supernova souls about 2015. It was like, okay, here's what you guys, your story and what who you are and what's going on. And one of the messages was like, when you drop, put down what you are carrying for these evil forces that seek to cause harm, blaming yourself for their deeds. It's game over for them as soon as we drop that shit. And here we are. So the ultimate thing is like, first of all, we run from these deep, dark feelings of persecution. We don't want to go there. We're so sensitive. And it's like, oh no. And so it's been suppressed and compensated, right? Into a very fragile place. And that's what this Pisces new moon, I was like, oh, this is so just like, oh, having to face and go and unpack these trauma places where you thought you had healed, you know. And yet, in the facing and reliving and releasing these energies, there's such a huge and powerful freedom for us. And it comes down to a call for forgiveness, that if we could just take a step back, take a step back, take a bigger step back, get a bigger perspective and look at this whole evolution and find forgiveness in all the forces that like caused you so much harm, that tried to ruin you, that tried to erase you, that traumatized you, and killed you, whatever has happened, blamed you, blew up the planet, blamed you, whatever. Um, so it's very powerful though, because it's like until we can see the bigger picture and forgive, and it's not rolling over, right? It's like I take back all my energy from this narrative. No more checkerboard. I'm not playing your games. Remove the piece from the board. Not my problem. I'm not in the drama. Because when we're in those stories, see, as long as we're still in trauma and triggered into that trauma place and fear, then we're still playing their game, you know? And we have to completely remove their game, the narrative, the whole story. And so that we can create our own story. And we know the story, it's already written. It's the greatest story never told that's been interrupted and, attacked and uh, they've done everything to try to keep this story from being told, and nothing can stop it. And it's Christ consciousness. So that also is the Piscean energy. And so we sit at this very special place because we've got the sun will be moving into Aries on the 19th. Mercury moves in tomorrow. And then we've got Venus moving into Pisces, Mars still in Pisces. I mean, Mars still will be moving into Pisces. So we'll be sitting here for a while still with Mercury retrograde in Aries with these very powerful energies. Now, it's very important to think about the Christ event, the mystery of Golgotha, is how it's described by which is the location of the crucifixion. This energy, the mystery here that played out when that happened, it was during a Saturn, or it was like actually this was the birth of Jesus, where Saturn and Jupiter came together, or Yeshua, and so those conjunctions, what is called the greatest conjunction, when Saturn and Jupiter come together, and this is about every um, 600 years, 700 years or so, um, at the point of this Pisces Aries, this vernal equinox, this astrological spring. So that conjunction at the time of the birth of Yeshua happened in the sign of the fishes and the ram. And so we're here right now in the fishes and the ram. And the fishes is like the Pisces, the old stories we're trying to get out from under with Venus or Mercury just being in conjunction with Neptune. And then right there is the Aries, a whole new rebirth and a new story, you know? And since everything got so messed up in the Piscean age, in the fallout, we're unpacking all of this and trying and get back to the reset of the Christ consciousness influx. And it is, there's all this kind of energy around the Aquarian age, a spiritual ascension, you know, and the second coming of Christ all aligning. They're all the same thing. And so, but the deep mystery of what Yeshua brought was that you can do what I can do and more. He was showing us what we can do ourselves. So the second coming of Christ consciousness seems to be that we literally incarnate our own Christ body. And we've been getting this message from the beginning, supernova souls, that we're not whole and complete. We haven't been able to fully incarnate, you know? And now is the time. There's very amazing, powerful master souls being born on the planet right now in this incredible movement. And it's like we cannot get out of this whole situation without justice, but also without the revelation. See, we we know that the Piscean age we had this persecution, but it was also about this Christ consciousness birth. Like literally what happened at that time changed the whole energy of Earth. The etheric body of Earth, the life force of Earth was infused with this consciousness available for all of us. And so we can't really get out of the past and Piscean age and the trauma until we also reveal and receive the miracles, the revelation. And we're just right there on the cusp of this rebirth. And so it's really important to understand this that there's, whenever you go through a rebirth process, there's that rehash of the old, right? And so, as painful as a lot of supernova souls may be just all of a sudden being overrun with this incredibly powerful betrayal energy coming up, it really has to do with a past life you haven't yet uncovered and unpacked and forgiven, you know, because nobody's acknowledged what's happened to you. And you didn't have a chance to stand up for yourself and um, take your energy back. Because guess what? When we took on their shame and pain for what they did to us, this is what we've been carrying. We also handed over a chunk of our energy to them. And we take it all back now. This is so huge. It's like we've got to bring all parts of our soul back home, and a really great soul retrieval opportunity in that Pisces New Moon activation. Go get that piece of yourself. You know, if you're triggered in it, feeling triggered into trauma and fear, it's showing you there's a piece missing and stuck in another timeline or an energy like that past life or just in that trauma energy. Because we're, like was talking about, this picture of all of humanity being in this very fragile, compensated state. Like, well, I've got the trauma. I haven't, it's at least hidden and it's compartmentalized and it's over here. And I'm just going to hold on for dear life and try to make it through. It's like, is that what we're here for? Managing our death process? Or are we going to start living? Are we going to start? Because this revelation energy is like massive spiritual love coming back into our world, into our heart. Nothing can hide it, nothing can cover it. It's just this exposure of spiritual light and love. It's a DNA activation of what's already in our DNA. The messages, the picture, the image, what we've been shown, the Gaia codes, the original vision of what Mother Earth wants to become in her ascension. And we're with her. We've been with her from the beginning. And apparently we're leading the way as we struggle on the threshold to just kind of figure out what's up from down, right? That's part of the Piscean energy. And so let's just kind of talk this through. We've got the tension we were feeling really intense the last few days, and we feel it through the next couple of days through the 13th. Mars square Uranus. And Mars, when Mars interacts with any planet, especially squares, it's really intense. It brings a lot of frustration because Mars is our go getter, our movement, and we're ready to move right now. It's a weird feeling because we've been waiting and waiting to go. And now it's already time to move into another Mercury retrograde cycle, because Mercury moving into Aries today is starting the retrograde energy, because the retrograde will be in Aries. But Mercury doesn't go into retrograde shadow till the 19th. So we're in this strange place. It's like if there's something you want to solidify, push forward, a project or complete, or like there's a very dynamic time right now in this next week or so to kind of shore up your loose ends, start in a new direction, you know, and feel out these energies. The Mercury retrograde will officially start retrograde on the 2nd of April. And it's in the second half of Aries that Mercury will be retrograde. So this is where we're getting this and conjunctions with Chiron and the North Node. So Mercury is linking together in our mind, our conceptual reality. What just happened in February 2024 with with this Chiron North Node conjunction and South Node and Libra activation? So the Mercury retrograde is like resolving and figuring out, like, now who are we and what are we doing? Degrees Aries. So in those degrees, if you've got cardinal signs, fire signs, um, really cardinal signs, fire signs, um, really will be affected by this Mercury retrograde. But this retrograde is very powerful because it's like we really do need to rethink, and we need a little bit more time of this Aries energy to make sure we're owning our power back. You know, that we're never going to give it away again, and we say nope. Like, yes, we were trying to help. We took it on. We were advanced souls trying to take the pain of people and not realizing it. Now we're like, mine, what's mine is mine. And so when you do own your energy, you typically will have people show up that maybe haven't been in your life or didn't want to be around you. And all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, hand it over. And it's like, what's yours is mine. I was like, oh, no, no. What's mine is mine. And this is why the Aries is so important. And every day it feels like supernova souls, we're just called to wake up, pull our energy back home, claim our autonomy and our sovereignty and our 3D consciousness, but also other levels. I know so many supernovas. Souls have felt this harassment energy on the other planes of existence and sleep, and we have authority over those planes as well. And that's what we're learning to do by owning our energetic field. And so, the next installment of the Owning Your Energetic Field course is coming up next Saturday, the 16th, and we'll be working in depth with the root chakra, everything that might keep us from a grounded, feeling safe and connected to Mother Earth. It's just the most crucial part of owning our field. So we'll be going deep into that, and I hope you'll consider joining. Information is to sign up below. These installments of Owning Your Energetic Field can stand alone. You can just do the one class, or if you're interested in the series, go back and get the overview. The first one, the last class, the replay of that one is an overview of the whole field, the whole energy anatomy. It's like a mini version of the intuitive training in one course. And then now we're going to go and take that overview and go deeper with each of these levels of consciousness represented by the chakra system, because this is the most important thing for us to know right now, is to claim our autonomy and our sovereignty. With the It's like we're going through this big test. Are you an autonomous individual soul to move forward in your own dream, the mother's dream, your expression of your gifts and skills? Do you have permission for that? Or are you still leaking out your energy and playing into the paradigms of the lower agendas? Because we must seal our energy and be autonomous and our sovereignty to move into the Aquarian age. That's the message we got. Because guess what? It's a golden age of abundance where everything that was stolen from us, that's the justice that needs to be done too, returned. But how can we trust ourselves with this level of spiritual abundance? It's rightfully ours. But when we've been leaking it out, right? And this dynamic we're talking about coming up from the Piscean age for supernova souls, recognizing where you're so sensitive, you feel the pain of others, and you don't even realize it, especially if there's karma there. And all of a sudden, they have a chunk of you, and you've got their pain, like the garbage collector, the recycler, transmuting, transforming. And it's like, this is really what's keeping us trapped, because we know that at this point of the evolution, we each need our opportunity. And after you fought for your soul and your sovereignty and your power and you take it back, you would never ever want to rob anyone of that experience. You know, you don't want to interfere with their fight for their autonomy, because the blessings and the treasures are too great. And this is where we stand. We turn from the nightmare into the dream. from the stealing, the raping, the pillaging into massive abundance and free energy. It's the only way forward. And so we are right here at this precipice, one foot in the old, one foot in the new, doing the splits, right? And the old energies, that South Node Libra is really showing us where are still willing to give away our energy um, when it was only meant for us. Source only meant it for us. We're the only see, it's like we've been part of the Piscean age thing that's coming up is all the distortions in the Christ or the Piscean, or yeah, the Christian mythology came out of the Christian movement. And it's like the sacrifice, and the persecution. That's like a spiritual path. And um, that somebody needs to save us. And that is really that's the biggest distortion that's probably held this whole thing back. Because in this free will universe, we are the only ones, that can save us. We are the only ones that can take care of us. Although we have this beautiful energy coming in of the mother, like just growing up around us in her magical life force and holding us and being like, honey, what if everything that you need is just can be created by the raw materials and appear in the world around you? That you can feel loved and held and comforted, that you have everything you need and everything's unfolding perfectly because you're walking with her. And it's just, ooh, so beautiful. And yet so different from the way we've been living, holding on for dear life in our trauma drama narratives. So this is where we're at. And so a big shift with Mercury today moving into Aries and the sun on the 19th for the equinox. We're also going to be having a soul group session, a group intuitive session looking at shared past life pictures. Really awesome work together on that equinox. So on the 19th, look out for that. Um, it's so powerful, the equinox energy. So this is next week. And um, during the energies of the equinox, we're going to be having Venus is moving into Pisces. We said on tomorrow, the 12th. And then Venus will be coming up to Saturn in Pisces at 12 degrees on the 22nd. So that's just we'll already be feeling that for the equinox, Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces, and then that will kind of continue for the few days after the equinox. So that's really powerful energy because um, this is talking about if we're right on with the message that it's the feminine that has to claim back the timeline and our world. She's got to pick herself up, put herself back together, and get her act together. She's coming to Saturn now, and we've gotten the message that Saturn in Pisces after that retrograde and the beginning degrees is a rewriting, and the Jupiter sextile Saturn rewriting the role of Saturn getting a makeover, coming out from under the black cube, the trap, the matrix. And so Venus is working her magic here in the Piscean energy, and it's really powerful. They come together at 12 degrees because that's 1 2 and 1 and 2 is 3, so it's like a 1 2 3. It's creation energy. And again, it's saying it's time to co-create something new. Get out of their checkerboard, take all of the narratives and the programs and the stories that they've dictated into your reality of this, and just remove them from your checkerboard. And your checkerboard, then the lines can collapse and something new can be created. We've got to be in the creation of the new. This is the only thing that saves us. And the creation, the passion of creation, that's the energy of the Chiron North Node, that the only way we can move forward is through being understanding that life is meant to be an ecstatic experience and bliss and joy, the natural state. And so we must chase this. This is what the mother wants. She wants us to celebrate. She wants us to be alive. She wants us to feel with her, dance with her, pray with her, sing with her, celebrate. live life. And it's like we're taking back the reins from this whole matrix quarantine reality where it's like we've been all of a sudden finding ourselves in a smart 15-minute city, you know, where there's no it was frequency fence, where we can't get out and connect with the spiritual energies and connect with the earth, you know, and this really deep sensation they're trying to create in all of humanity of disconnection. But it's boomeranging because guess what? That disconnection energy was how we got into this mess. So at the same time with the catastrophes and the infiltration and the blame and shame and trauma drama narrative starting in the Pisces in the Atlantean time, at the same time there was an agenda to remove the presence and the importance and the value of mothering and the children being raised by the state. That was part of the agenda. You know, convincing parents through affluence and wealth and position, "Oh, let's go to Disneyland," right? Um, to hand over control over their children. And that disconnected us from the mother and the earth and safety and security. And so that's where we must go back. Is this, I'm getting this very powerful message. The only way we can get out of this mess and move forward is to come back to the goddess, the mother, the feminine. She births all. And how are we ever going to receive that abundance if we don't feel worthy? And she is the how we heal this. You can have all the Christ consciousness light in the world around you, but if you do not feel worthy of embodying it, then good luck. And this is why Jupiter and Uranus are in Taurus right now. So it's really important to talk about the fact that Jupiter and Uranus are coming together, finally meeting up. They've been in their own little worlds in Taurus, and Jupiter's like, Uranus has been there for a while. And Uranus is higher frequency vibration and advanced technologies and wisdom, all the things that we're not allowed to have. And then Jupiter expanding into our wealth and worth for our treasures and abundance. All these things that they say we aren't allowed to have because they don't want us to evolve, they're ours. It's ours. It's they stole it. They stole the earth. They stole the rightful claim on dominion over the earth. They stole the resources. They stole our essence, our energy, and it's gone on for far too long because it was all ours. It was the mother's to begin with. It's all her resources. And I just love this picture of her gathering it all up and saying, in the justice, her awakening, and Mother Dragon, and the justice just is because that's the way and the law and the rule of the land. We do it this way now. Mother says so, in alignment with what's good and true and beautiful, supporting life and evolution. Hey, you guys, you want to try it this way this time? Now? And just recognizing that it's like we're trying to fight for something to earn it back. And we have to remember that it was ours all along. All the energy we're trying to take back and struggle for our soul and our essence and our autonomy, it was ours all along. And we have to stand in the strength and the knowing. You know, this is Mars square Uranus, that it's like the warrior saying, give it back what's ours. That technology, give it back. And because we cannot allow, and the mother cannot allow or stand for these technologies being used against us. And as long as they're hidden from us, they can be used against us to keep us in the frequency fence, to keep us in the quarantine, to try to manipulate our thoughts and emotions through their technologies that they've invasively put in our body against our will. It's a bunch of bullshit, isn't it? Our sacred human form. And so we have no choice but to raise our vibration, to just claim all of our energy and all of our power. And to this, to see this picture of this activated field, what we're working on in the Owning Your Energy Field course, like, and it just throws off all of the bullshit and the messages and the programming and the nanotech and the implants. It's just like cannot exist in your world, just like those technologies that are causing harm can no longer exist on the earth. See what we're doing here together? It's so powerful. We and the earth coming into our Christ body, like turning our light on, living in the revelation, being the living, breathing example. But how can you do that if you don't feel that you deserve the revelation? It's yours. This is another thing that came through the Pisces new moon activation. Really important message for us. For some supernova souls, the absolute key. In this distortion of the Christ mythology, we got caught in this thing that if we are trying to be like Christ, and it's fine to go get persecuted, right? And but then it's really about overcoming all they could ever do to you in the strength of your light body, like we were just talking about. But there's this picture of like that there's something we have to do and sacrifice and earn, and this whole story, and this deep grief that a lot of supernova souls have been stuck in from these past life experiences where you were an unacknowledged victim and the justice never was served. We've already died on the cross, is the message. Like, there is no more crucifixion, pain, struggle needed for us. Our deeds have been done, just like Yeshua. He did his, we did ours. And maybe we did it and it was like not necessary or whatever, but we did it. And so here we're not able to gather the karmic benefit of our act, of our so-called sacrifice, while we're carrying the pain and shame of our oppressors. We can't receive the blessing, the gift. So what if you're redeemed right here, right now? You already did your act. You already stepped into the fires. There's no need to replay this drama play anymore. You have been redeemed. And your act, it's like we've been waiting around for somebody to validate in a way, because that unacknowledged victim, you know. But it's like we've got to stop with the persecution of ourselves and allowing that, because we already did our deed. What hasn't been done is justice for those that wronged us, having to face what they've done. And if they can't face what they've done, then they have to be recycled or something. But this is a really important part of us pulling all of our energy back, stepping aside, and this is what we're seeing again and again. It's going to be really obvious, really, really obvious. We're coming to this massive exposure of the light and the dark. And we've been running and hiding from this, being seen in our light. That's the scariest thing. Remember, that's why they hunted us down over lifetimes, to keep us scared and never, ever, ever go towards this power and light that we have, except now we have no choice and we don't have time to be scared. And we can see this is the other thing that comes through around all this fear programming. It's so real. Have you seen this? You get on the edge of a Kundalini awakening, you have an experience that expands, and you'll be in that place. And then it's almost like inevitably there's this attack, psychic attack that comes, and it's just programmed in. And all of a sudden you're scared, right? And you just want the safety and security of what you know. And that's this threshold at the fear programming at the threshold of us setting ourselves free. And we really need to understand that it's not scary, because, like we said, it was already ours. We've already done this. We've already come into our full potential in a body on earth in this evolution. We don't have anything to fear about our awakening. We're fully equipped and fully prepared, and we know exactly what we're doing, even if our conscious mind doesn't know. So we have to examine this threshold place where we're going, where the goblins and the scary stuff is, right? At the lower astral plane. That's where they try to keep us trapped, because you got to go through that to get out. Every night you go to sleep, you got to go through that to go and dance with your angels and get recharged and rejuvenated. And when we die, we have to go through that lower realms. And so um, the important message, let's see if I can get back to it. Um, um, so Yes, very important when it's stolen like that. The fear programming, and we've all gone there, right? And we've all danced on the edge, and we've all had that experience of like, "Oh, I'm free. Oh, no, no, that's not safe. I better stay in my prison, in my matrix quarantine, because at least it's familiar." The fear programming we're encountering, the message that's come through is so powerful, is that we know narcissists and psychopaths, like their mode of navigating and interacting. You can't even call it relating, right? But they project, right? They always blame you for what you're trying to. If you try to call them out or say, "Hey, what's up with this energy?" And they're like, "This is all your fault, right? You started. It's you." And supernova souls, and the sensitive big souls we are, we're like, we take it. We always are looking to self-correct and be more righteous in our truth and more real, and we just take all this in. But what if, like, all the fear programming that we're encountering and having to overcome at this time is not our own fear of our awakening, but their fear of our awakening? Because it's game over for them. They can't exist in our frequency. And the fear, the trepidation they feel, and we maybe feel it and carry it for them because we're just so compassionate. But we got to be stop being compassionate for monsters, and bad behavior, because the mother's laws and rules and authority is coming back home, right? And but it's like the fear and trepidation is actually their fear of our awakening because it means the end for them. Our oxygen, our life, they can't live in that environment. Breathe it in and breathe it out. This primary water, this breath of life, this beautiful balm that available as the mother dragon awakens, this primary water from deep in the earth seeping up. This interaction we have available with we have to overcome, just go around the frequency fences and all the Faraday cages and all the blockages that they're trying to create, and reach into the energy of the mother and breathe in this breath of life. It's hydration. It's this picture that, without the harp and the weather control and the chemtrails and all that, the natural organic system can handle and give us, like, as we work with the Mother Earth, and we can bring up whatever moisture we need. We can have cool the temperature, we can raise the temperature, we can clear the clouds, bring more clouds, whatever needs to happen. I've seen so many past life pictures of supernova souls working with weather in this beautiful alignment way of this a loving connection of just together with the mother inviting the optimal weather and the power of the primary water that they don't want us to know about. So much of the grid of this, it's cell phone towers and Wi-Fi and all that. It's not actually about that. And the wires, they're not actually about electricity because electricity can go through the air. It's the grid. They want us trapped in the grid. It's an energetic grid. And what that grid does is interfere with the primary water system. Because we've got an atmospheric water system, and this is the only way you can have drought. 'Cause it's like, oh, we just don't have any water. It's just gone. It's just, and it's like, ooh, ooh. Because deep in the water, deep in the ground, there's the primary water system that comes up whenever we need it. This is it. Drought cannot exist when we're connected to the mother. We're completely cared for. And going back to Atlantean time, is it all start with this story, taking the children away from their mothers, taking us away from our connection to the earth. Because if we feel connected to Mother Earth and we feel her around us and we feel her supporting us, and we feel this beautiful self-correcting force and love, then it's really hard to control people through fear and trauma if they feel connected to the earth. And so they've got us in fear of this, and almost like wanting us to know how much contrived and controlled the weather is, so that we think, well, what would we do without that control? What would we do without our prison? What would we do without our Faraday cage? What would we do without our psychological handlers and the AI voices in our head? And so we're just it's a clean slate coming, right? And we do this, and we can do this in our own field and our own energy by claiming our electromagnetic field, claiming our power, claiming our right to exist as who we are. This is the only reason you were persecuted, right? Coming back to this, because you just existed in the light that you are. And they had to have people think that that was evil. And so there was betrayal and people turning against you. And if that's not painful enough, you felt so sorry for them, for this karma that they were creating, you took it all on because that's how big and beautiful you are. And now you got to let it go, garbage collector. It's not your shit. It's not your problem. Take that chess piece. You're going to be, what we're encountering is all these stories from the past. And it's like narratives and dramas, right? And it's like, okay, if it's really painful, it triggers us. But we can still, what we're doing is like, yeah, it happened. Doesn't define me. That happened to me. We all went through our shit, but I'm no longer going to be defined by what you did to me and carry the guilt and shame of what you did to me. This is what we've been doing. I've been having a hard time figuring out why you have low self worth and guilt and shame and thinking you did something horribly wrong. What if it was what they did to you and you took on the pain? When we got to drop that shit. And this is this place that we're at with the Pisces and the Aries energy. So I want to just talk about the fact that this square with Mars square Uranus really intense and kind of this like final stand type of energy. It's really, we don't have any more squares for this next week or oppositions even. Venus will be coming into opposition with Black Moon Lilith, but not till the end of the month. And we just had the sun come out of opposition with Black Moon Lilith, and we're in this really strange place because we're still feeling Jupiter sextile Saturn. They're still within, now they're within 2 degrees of each other, and as well also Chiron North Node still within 2 degrees. And so we're like, whoa, this whole month of February, what just happened? We're still in the energy of that. And so we have this weird breathing breath before we move into the intensity of eclipse season, because the Libra full moon happens on Monday, March 25th, but early in the morning. So the activation will be on Sunday, March 24th. And that Libra full moon is a eclipse. And so that starts eclipse season. We're kind of in it already with the Pisces new moon, the lunation before. And so we're moving into the intensity of the eclipses. Now, the eclipses happen when the nodes, where the sun and the moon are close to the nodes of the moon. The nodes of the moon are where the elliptical orbit of the sun and the moon intercept. So it's about a karmic destiny. And how do we get forward? How do we get out of the past? Also aligning up. Eclipse is also what's hidden and being revealed. And it feels like this eclipse, the total solar eclipse on April 8th, has so much Christ consciousness, biblical energy to it. It does feel like, is this our revelation um, energy? So we're leading into this where, what if all of the pain and the unacknowledged victim and all the trauma and drama and all the justice that hasn't been served over lifetimes all of a sudden is erased by the power of the glory that's contagious of the spiritual love and light. And I know it's hard sometimes because we've been so blocked from this. But what if your heart was all of a sudden overflowing with the love that you are? And together we say yes to our Christ body, to the power over our field, to our age of abundance. You know, it's like these money changer people, controllers who have been like stealing our money and keeping us in this Babylonian money magic system. It's not their money, it's our money. It's the mother's resources and money. It's ours. They've been trading us as a commodity through our birth certificate, our social security card, or whatever. And it's like, I'm no longer your commodity or your pawn or your playing card. This is really where we've got to get. The mother, it's all her resources. It's all her gold. It's all her oil. It's all her precious metals. And can she is, that picture of her gathering it up and we gathering up all our power everywhere we've given it away in these past lives because of the mistreatment against us. And then all we know is mistreatment. We don't even know how to have a relationship. This is the South Node in Libra. Like, woo, we're going to move forward and begin to work together, bring our energy together. This is the next, amplify our energy, get the body of us, those supernova souls coming together, activate our Christ body. But we also have relationship rehab because most of us have only known damaging and harmful relationships. And we think that that's love. constantly negotiating away our power. So we really have some reworking and reprogramming to do. And so we have a strange breather here where we've got, as Mars square Uranus comes off the last next couple of days, and it's kind of like very powerful. Mercury moves into Aries today. Venus moves into Pisces tomorrow. The Sun moves into Aries on the 19th. Mars moves into Pisces on the 23rd. And it's like this progression and holding the energy of these two, the end and the beginning. So it's interesting. We know we're at the beginning of the Aquarian age, and it was the very beginning of the Piscean age. The revelation of the Christ consciousness was the marker, the very beginning. And so what does this shift of ages have in store for us? What are we doing? How do we step into that abundance that's rightfully ours and take back our energy, take back our power, take back our world? And the mother says she's the only one with rightful dominion in us because we stand with her. We were there from the beginning. There's these beautiful family lineages that were rightful stewards of the land. And I just see this picture of them being returned as stewards to this land to support and help their communities come online with this new adventure and new timeline and new earth um and it's just really beautiful that those rightful owners, because listen, they stole our records, our akashic records, but it turns out that, like, if you really look at the DNA, if they took all the information of everything in a whole history and everyone and everything that's ever happened, if it was written in DNA, you could fit it in the back of a couple of pickup trucks. Our DNA has our akashic records in it. Our DNA has a record. It's ours. And maybe this is why there's such an infiltration, because they want us to think that our blood plasma, this is they're harvesting our energy through our blood, moving their data through our plasma. And that's our DNA is also projected on our field, our energy field. And so it's like they can access our whole reality because we're not paying attention and owning it until this flipping of the tables happens, the turning of the tide in the blink of an eye, this DNA activation. And all of a sudden it's absolutely clear who's who. Who's dark, who's light. We don't have to wonder anymore about who's been pretending and wearing a mask. It's the great reveal. So this is kind of the energy happening, and us taking our place as the bearers of this light. And there's no more trauma drama. There's no more fear, because it's just the picture is like being an overflowing cup of spiritual love. And we can't spend time worrying about whether or not there's been justice done for the wrongs done to us, because justice is done, you know, with the opening of our heart and Christ consciousness and this activation that we're in the middle of. So when we talk about going back to, sorry, I just talk in circles sometimes, but we will make it back around. Jupiter and Uranus coming together in Taurus, so powerful. Okay, so we've got this, and I'll be talking more about this next month of astrology with eclipse season. Is so intense, but just know that we've got the Libra full moon, and so first we have the equinox, and the equinox is marked by Venus conjunct Saturn, and of course the sun moving over into Aries, so the rebirth and the astrological spring, and Venus and Saturn saying rebirth of the mother's timeline. We're taking it back. Was never yours to have. Mother says, mine, 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 mine. And those who have rightful dominion with me over the resources. So that's really, really powerful, because it says our rebirth is the feminine claiming back our timeline. And then um, a couple days after that is when Mars moves into Pisces. And so that's we're still going to be rehashing the Piscean age and claiming the magic, because we got this message. You can't get out of the Piscean age. So you're going to heal all the trauma and drama, but we don't get to be done with the Piscean age till we reclaim the miracles and the magic and the revelation and the healing. That's what the Piscean age was supposed to be. and all will be returned sevenfold. That's a lot. Beautiful abundance. And this is the energy of Jupiter and Taurus. Okay, what if we're moving into a golden age? And the only thing keeping us on the threshold is whether or not we feel worthy because we're the scum of the earth, because we somehow blamed ourselves for these catastrophes. There's this some story that we need to repent and make up for something to earn. And now the mother's telling us, oh, it was mine and yours and ours all along. Let's just take it back. So, but Jupiter and Uranus come together. Okay, so after we've got the equinox, and then we move into that Libra full moon, and Libra full moon the 24th, 25th, and that is such powerful energy for the whole little last part of March because that's when Venus in will take her turn in Pisces, making these sextiles to Jupiter and Uranus. So Pisces sextile Taurus, same as the Jupiter Saturn sextiles. So it's like Venus is triggering that Jupiter sextile Saturn and it's completing. So it's very powerful because Venus is like, okay, I'm going to take the magic of that and I'm going to run with it. So she's sextile to Jupiter on the 24th and 25th, exactly for that full moon. Uh, just Libra full moon lunar eclipse, Venus sextile Jupiter, activating the magic of the Jupiter sextile Saturn and moving this thing forward, right? And then Venus comes into sextile with Uranus on the 28th and 29th at the end of the month. So that's also when Venus will be opposing Black Moon Lilith. And so we're in this very strange afterglow, mysterious time at the end and the beginning, in between, where we've just had these incredible activations, but we don't know what they're about yet until after the Mercury retrograde and the eclipse season. So we're kind of like resting here in the in between. Maybe that's a good message for us. I mean, we got in this, it's like with the Pisces energy, dream, imagine, use your faculties, your pictures to create what's possible, not what's on social media, right? Like remove those boards, maybe use it to inspire you, but remove those everybody else's narrative and come what's your narrative, and guess what, it's absolutely in alignment with the mother's narrative and her dream and her timeline. The Christ consciousness timeline is the mother's timeline of earth. The Christ energy comes through the mother this time, and we get to be with her in her body. Her body's our body. We're turning into light. um and so that Libra full moon eclipse will be really powerful because Venus will still be close to Saturn and sextile to Jupiter and opposite of Black Moon Lilith. And it's everything culminating of this whole last year of astrology. Pluto square the nodes, Venus retrograde, and it's like very powerful, showing us our relationship to relationships and to each other that needs to be resolved in order to move in to our future. So then what happens is that we move into that total solar eclipse, and so many people are talking about this, and it's true. It's just got this incredibly powerful vibration, and I think a birth of Christ consciousness energy for this eclipse. There was an eclipse at the time of the crucifixion. And so it's a very powerful energy. And if you've experienced a total solar eclipse, you know what it feels like. There is this energy of revelation of like, wow, I have seen the light. My life has changed. It's very dramatic. It's a very spiritual awakening, very powerful. And it coming at this time after these magical transits, it's really like, okay, here you go. Are you going to receive the impulse? And is this who you are? So that eclipse is really powerful because at the same time of the eclipse, Venus will then catch up to Neptune. So we've got Venus, Neptune, totally releasing the bad dream and the nightmare. Like the traumas are coming up, but it's this whole thing of like, but just over here is this new beautiful freedom energy. Oh, back in the old stories. Oh, wait, hold on. There's something else over here. And so Venus, Neptune is breaking the spell, it feels like. In Pisces, New moon in Pisces, I mean, in Aries for this, the eclipse is in Aries, but Venus and Neptune in Pisces, then Mars in Pisces with Saturn. So a new moon in Aries, total solar eclipse, and then we've got Venus exactly conjunct Neptune, Mars exactly conjunct Saturn in Pisces. This is a rebirth of Christ consciousness. And what does that mean for you? Are you in alignment? Are you getting right with yourself? Are you standing up? We're being asked to overcome all that fear and not let us play small. Be like, that's their trauma. They created the catastrophes. They created the fear. They created the drama. We have been redeemed. We've been burned and killed and hung and, whatever. And we no longer could carry this. It's like this big stone, this big weight being under the rubble of the Atlantean time, blaming ourselves. And it was never our fault. This is what we do. Like for lifetimes, generations taking on all the pain of your family because you can do it. But is it your job to do anymore? And this is where we're having this massive release of karmic relationships. Now, the eclipse happens just a few days after Mercury turns retrograde in Aries. So Mercury will just have come up to the end of Aries, 27 degrees, and be taking a retrograde, heading back through that second part of Aries. And so the eclipse, the revelation, the timeline alignment, the truth, what's coming through from this eclipse is going to be worked out in the Mercury retrograde. And it has everything to do with the second part of Aries, which is about fully owning our power and our autonomy. We cannot go forward if we're in pieces. So the whole agenda is to keep us in pieces. Take it all back. You don't have to know even where it is. There's some weird cloning program, some past life trauma, some family thing that you weren't even incarnate for, trauma in your history and your DNA lineage. Drop that shit. It's not yours. In order to receive the abundant blessings of our spiritual work, we must allow those other souls to have their experience, their fight, their claiming of their power. And they can't do it while we're holding their pain. It's so powerful. Um, and so that eclipse is really intense energies of, again, Pisces explosion, Aries explosion, because Mercury retrograde is triggering both Chiron and the North Node. So it's like still that energy is there. The wounds over where we gave our power and our energy away, and we've got to own it back if we're going to make it through this threshold place. Put all our pieces back together, call all of our parts home. So the then after the eclipse, the total solar eclipse on April 8th, then we are moving into on the 9th is when we start feeling Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. And this is epic. It's just like Jupiter and Uranus finally meeting. So it's permission for our advanced technologies, for our light body, for our free energy, for all that was stolen from us. And we don't have to earn or prove it. We stand up and we take it and claim it. And how do we do that? What does that look like? Get this. So during the um, Jupiter conjunct Uranus, they will be exactly sextile to Mars in Pisces. This, remember the Pisces Taurus, all these sextiles and energies between Pisces and Taurus. Um, and rewriting the stories of the old, or dreaming a new dream so we can receive our abundance and move into this golden age. And so it's so powerful because Mars, the warrior in Pisces, making this claim, this because sextiles are creative solutions and possibilities and opportunities that we couldn't see before. And so the lining up is very important. And so Mars, this warrior in Pisces, the dream, for the mother's dream. Jupiter and Uranus, Oh, we finally know we deserve it. Is it gonna take to be flooded over with spiritual love and our heart just overflowing with the revelation and turning our light on and seeing our light in everyone else, all other supernova souls? Is that's what it's gonna take to get us over the trauma drama loop and narrative? Like, can we not even feel worthy for the spiritual light that we are until we're flooded in a cellular level with this light? But that's kind of the energy. And so really, really powerful. Now, the other thing that's going on at that same time of Jupiter and Uranus conjunction in April, that's the 18th through the 21st of April. And so um, at the same time, on the 19th, I believe, um, Chiron will make it to, or Chiron, it's Chiron will be making it to 19 degrees and of Aries. And this is where Chiron is in the US birth chart at the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. And so we are having the US, and we know our goddess Columbia representing the rebirth of the divine feminine and uh, Lamerica, we call it, I guess, right? So it's very powerful that the US is having its Chiron return. And that happens exactly at the same time as Jupiter Uranus conjunction, owning our wealth, claiming our permission for our wealth on all levels, right? Here we're struggling with physical wealth, but we are so abundant in our intuitive spiritual wealth, which is the only true wealth, and our love. And so we're now claiming this Jupiter Uranus conjunction is the abundance, the physical abundance must come that reflects our spiritual abundance because it's the mother's world now. And we just flipped the table and turned the tide. And so the only way forward, the truth, you coming into your spiritual abundance, it absolutely translates immediately to physical abundance in your bank account. Isn't it time for us to take our place? And so so powerful because the Chiron return of the US in Aries at 19 degrees Aries is a fight for life, the survival of our country, and for the dream that is a dream for the whole world of living in the truth of the natural law in accordance with the mother's laws and rules, the law of the land, and the uh, human rights given to us by existence, our God given rights for our autonomy, our life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and can we add privacy to that? It's like we are just so surveilled, you know? Um, and so thank you so much for your support, for being here, and what a journey we're on. Let's stay connected. Eclipse season is upon us, and wow, is this a major turning point? And can we step up and just own it and claim victory and live in that victory, live in that abundant bliss that is the truth of what mother wants us to demonstrate to the world, overflowing cup of creative potential, dreaming new realities into existence that have long been held in our imagination we've been working on for lifetimes coming to form finally. Very beautiful chapter lies ahead, and the whole shift is also connected with us resolving that south node Libra and moving together into these very powerful exponential. This is why they don't want us together in our light body and our activation, because it's contagious and it's exponential. So get ready for the next chapter. Very, very powerful energy. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support, being a part of the Supernova Soul Tribe. It means so much to me to have you with us and just being here energetically, receiving the concepts, being here on the page. It means so much to all of us. The Supernova Soul Tribe, we're realizing all the work we've done. We're building this beautiful field of support for us supernova souls. And so thank you so much for being a part of it on whatever level. And I hope to see you at that Owning Your Energetic Field course on Saturday, March 16th, and also look out for the equinox soul group session. Ooh, powerful energies. And we'll just be moving right into this eclipse portal. Very strange energies during eclipses. And we've already been in a very strange energy. So maybe this level of alignment that's coming in this eclipse, these eclipses can reset us, right? Back to that ideal timeline and close up all these little weird portals and dimensional stuff. The mother says, no, no, no. Mm-mm. We're only going to have portals that support humanity and beautiful energies of advanced technology that can be in alignment with humanity. You know, so we're going to be closing up all the other timeline possibilities and getting on that one timeline, her timeline, Christ consciousness timeline. And so that feels like the adjustment that's happening during this eclipse season. I'm so glad we're here together and we're connected. And look out for more information about this, all of this astrology, because yeah, could talk about it for a long time. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully at one of those or both events or the next update. Thank you so much, Supernova Soul, for going through all you've gone through to be here, right now. You are redeemed. You have done your act. It's time for step up and claim your blessings and all that's rightfully yours. So, what a glorious time to be alive here together on Earth. I love you so much, Supernova Souls. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.